All right. What's going on, guys? We got a good show today. We got I keep messing up his name. I'm so sorry. Ryad, Ryad, Ryu. We gonna call him Ryu. That's my nigga Ryu. We got Myron and Ryu. I'm stop playing around. Let me stop. We got Myron and Ryad. Ryad. I want to say Ryad. Ryad. Well, hopefully he says his fucking name in the show, because I hate messing up my nigga name. But we about to watch them talk about the atrocities that Israel is committing. I think they might be talking about recent atrocities. So I'm going to, just give a quick little rundown before we, go into that. And then we're going to watch Nick talk about what they're not telling us about the Epstein files. Let's see what he has to say. Everybody's been cooking him lately because of some of the things he's had to say about the Epstein files. So we will be talking about that today. But yeah, let's get right into this motherfucker.
The bitch shaking it, showing it. You this, you that. We laughing at them together.
Oh!
So stop treating these mother like they mean something.
Let's go to TikTok. All right. Now, this is the Myron and Ryad video. This is them talking about Israel. But before we get into that, I like to go back in time, because I don't know if they're going to be talking about present day things or like not present day things, but things that recently happened. But I don't know if anybody doesn't understand the lore. But when Hitler was kicking everybody out of Germany, well, not kicking everybody out of Germany, was letting them leave Germany, and they were going to and the Jews started migrating from Europe to Israel. They were allowed in. Palestinians didn't. There were already Palestinians there that allowed the Jews to stay there, that migrated over. If you look up, we can look up pictures right now. We can look up where Jews are coming in on boats and Palestinians are greeting them. Hold on, let me fucking get this shit right. Hold. Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. Palestinian. I might have spelled that wrong, but boats. Yes. The Germans destroyed our families. Don't you destroy our hopes. These are in Arriving in Palestine in 1947. This is in 1947 though. This is like, hold up. This is later. This is later, but this just shows that uh they were already there. Like, that just shows you that the Palestinians were already there. And this is later on in the time. So this is them coming now. So Palestinians are already there. They're welcoming the Jews come to Israel, to Palestine. And when the Jews come, they start making settlements. Like, they start building illegal settlements on the land and taking the Palestinians' homes to the point where they're like moving them out. And they're when they would do that, of course there's going to be conflict. So the Jews had I want to say a terrorist group called well, I wouldn't say the Haganah wasn't really like the terrorist group. They was like the police in sense for the Jews. And the British, I want to say, not funded them. I think the British funded them. But yeah, the Haganah has started because of that stuff. And the settlements were happening and the Jews were stealing land. So, of course, the Palestinians were getting mad. We get into conflict. We fast forward a little bit to 1947, right? This is before Israel's a state. Brits are, like, the Brits are still controlling Palestine. They're still like have the like they're still controlling Palestine basically. So the Brits are getting killed and assassinated and bombed because they're holding the Jews from migrating over because they're seeing that they're migrating over so much and that they're causing conflict with the Palestinians by taking their land. So they see what the Jews are doing, and so they're trying to halt the Jews from coming over from for by so much, which ends up being the Jews start bombing their facilities. I forgot what day was called, the Black Day or something like that, where they bombed one of the hotels that the Brits were using, where they found documents showing how like the Haganah had joined forces with the other terrorist groups that had formed during the time, the Ergen gang and the Stern gang and the Ergonah, I think something like that. But which then later forms into the IDF, which is the military forces that they use now. So imagine that the three terroristic groups turned into the IDF. So yeah, they found out that they were helping the terrorist groups terrorize the Palestinians and mess with the Brits. So they ended up bombing the hotel. Once they did that, Brit was like, "I'm not dealing with this no more." So they backed out and left and gave the Jews Palestine, even though the Jews are only like 10%. You see what I'm saying? Like they weren't the majority. So that didn't make any sense. And then 1948, Israel is formed. So that was just a quick little breakdown. I skipped over a lot. But that's just a little quick breakdown of the beginning of what was happening because Palestinians were already over there. So
just because he wanted to pray and they turned him away.
JC Vance says, let's keep Palestine on the conversation, free Palestine. Yo, they just violated the ceasefire, didn't they?
Several times. This is one of many since they actually had the plan or they fulfilled the agreement. So,
are you familiar with the facts? You want to give them a quick little update on that? Violating the ceasefire?
I haven't seen the recent development, but there have been, to generalize at the grand scheme of things, ever since the ceasefire was initiated, there have just been very sporadic moments of violence in Gaza and airstrikes and targeted attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like the full onslaught that happened in the 2.5 year bombing campaign, it has not been the same. So Israel's been a lot more methodical and strategic about attacking the Gaza Strip and how they're going to do it, because obviously it's going to receive global, or it's going to garner global condemnation. So for right now, they're a little bit more quiet about it, but every so often they're doing things in the Gaza Strip. They're also continuing to, I think, try and progress the annexation of the West Bank as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's the same things that have been happening after October 7th and prior, by the way. So.
Oh, bro. And no one talks about this. They absolutely ramped up their operations in the West Bank during the whole Gaza siege. The whole 2-3 years that they were bombing the hell out of Gaza, they were ramping up the West Bank operations over there. And no one was talking about it because obviously everyone was focused on Gaza. But what people need to understand is that the Gaza Strip, the Israelis have been treating it like a throwaway, right? They only gave it back in like, what, 05 or whatever? They only gave it back so that they can go ahead and ramp up operations in the West Bank. There's a saying in Hebrew that they use like, hey, give the Gaza Strip back and then we can like really focus. Because what they really want is the West Bank. They call Judea and Samaria. That's what they really want. And they've always wanted that. And that's why they keep expanding the settlements illegally.
just so y'all know where the West Bank is at, I like to look at things. Oh, boom. Okay, so you see Israel, West Bank. This is better. Here we go. See Israel. Oh wait, what the fuck? Okay, this was the pre-border. Okay, yeah, this is okay. Yeah, we need some shit today. Okay, yep. So we see they want this because this is where the holy sites are at and everything, and this is what they give everybody else. This little shit right here.
We got what, 700 to damn near almost 1 million people live there now.
Yeah, and it's increasing. And exactly, you're precisely right. The West Bank is where the holy sites are, and the Palestinian territory still has, or the Palestinian Authority in their territory, they still have ownership of a lot of those holy sites that Israel wants to own outright. And during the bombing campaign and kind of around that weird blurring of a ceasefire that was like kind of happening, then it didn't happen. I think it was in October, Trump and JD Vance were being pressed by reporters and the press in general to comment on the West Bank because the Israeli settlers were getting increasingly violent, which has been a recurring theme for years and years.
Yep.
And Trump had said they will not annex the West Bank. JD Vance promises that there will be no annexation of the West Bank, but it's really cheap words. At the rate that things are going, probably in the next 5 or 6 years, Israel will completely have eradicated all Palestinian authority in the West Bank and push everybody out. Israeli settlers are killing Palestinians, sheep.
Bro, they killed an American citizen. I'll never forget this because I was in Tampa at the time. When I was there for TPUSA for the college summit, they killed a U.S. citizen from Tampa in the West Bank. And I knew because I had linked up with Ahmed from Propaganda and Co.
Yeah.
The dude that they killed, I met his cousin.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I think in my memory.
Jersey?
No, the kid that got killed was from Tampa. He was a Palestinian kid from Tampa. I met his cousin. I went to a Middle Eastern restaurant in Tampa to meet up with Ahmed for an interview from Propaganda and Co. And he has a bunch of, and this area has a lot of Muslims. So a couple of guys came by, Lebanese dudes, Palestinians, etc., Iraqis. And one of the people that came was the cousin of the guy that got killed. So they gave me all the details. Basically, bro, they beat him up. And then while he was lying there, they beat him with an inch of his life. They purposely kept the ambulance workers and the paramedics from giving him aid. So he could have been saved, but the settlers purposely blocked him off because all these settlers have rifles and guns.
Middle East Eye. This is the story I saw in Middle East Eye. It's sad because I can't even think of which story you're referring to because this has happened multiple times.
Yeah, I was about to say it's so many times where they won't let the ambulance get through after somebody is hurt to where they're not letting. Like, if they were to get through, he would have survived. Like, it's so many times that that's happened.
American citizens. I'll make it quick. I have a story. A good friend of mine who I know, he's Palestinian, and he had visited the West Bank and, Jerusalem back in, I think, October of, was it 2024 or was it this recent year? I can't remember. October, November. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. He was trying to pray in Masjid al-Aqsa, which, if you guys are not familiar, Islam has 3 major holy sites. The first one being Mecca. That's in Saudi Arabia, and obviously MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, is the custodian of the 2 holy mosques. So you have Mecca, you have Medina, which is the second holiest site. That's the Prophet's mosque. And then you have the third holiest site, which is in Jerusalem. It's called Masjid al-Aqsa. And obviously praying there garners a huge reward. It's a super spiritual place for Muslims, so on and so forth. You get it. And that's where all the holy sites are. The Holy Church of Sepulchre, that's where all of the historical events from all 3 major world religions have happened. And so he was there trying to pray in the mosque, and at the time, I believe there was increasing violence towards Israeli occupation, deservingly so, because of the Israeli settlements and them limiting Palestinians from doing whatever they want, entering the holy sites at certain times and having curfews and so on. And he tries to go in, and the guard turns him away. And the guard lets my friends, I believe it was his grandmother and his mother, inside the mosque, and he doesn't let him in. Reason being, a few weeks prior, there was a young man who had prayed and then went and attacked Israeli soldiers. I think he killed him, he stabbed him, something horrible like that. And so the IDF and the people who are guarding the mosque were on high alert and security, and so they weren't letting young men in. So, I think he heckles with the guy for maybe a minute or two, but he turns away. Obviously, the guy, these IDF soldiers, if you haven't seen, they carry their guns in their hand and they're ready to go.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. They're always armed, even when they're off duty, by the way.
Yep.
And so he walks away. And his mom and his grandma are upset, but I think they just go into the mosque. And one of the Israeli guards, one of the IDF soldiers, looks at him, and this is a verified story. I'm not going to blow his privacy, but I have pictures of his bruises and everything. And so he walks away, and one of the IDF soldiers yells something at him, and he yells something back. A whole scuffle happens, whatever. He continues to walk away. One of them come behind him and butt him in the back or the head with a gun. I can't remember the intricate details, but they beat the living shit out of him. I think 2 or 3 soldiers, his mom and his grandma, were watching, and they were just crying and screaming. And his grandma was like, stand up, get off the ground. If you don't stand up, they're going to kill you. And they beat the life out of him just because he wanted to pray, and they turned him away. And this is a really common reoccurring story. I wasn't surprised at all when he had told me this happened to him. And if you're an Arab Muslim and you visit Jerusalem or anywhere in the West Bank, you are in legitimate danger, and you have to be very careful. Not so much the ones that live there, the Palestinians, but if you're visiting, there's always extra eyes on you because of your motives to visit. Obviously, the most pressing thing would be, I'm just here to worship and here to see these holy sites. But of course, the Israeli Authority like to look at it in a different way, where you have terrorist motives or something like that. So yeah, that's
if you even get in. They're gonna grill you at the airport. That's a fact.
Yeah,
you're gonna be at the.
What's funny is they probably sent the fucking teenager to do that to the, because which I don't understand is, Israel don't have no problem with killing their own soldiers, so they could have sent the teenager in there to go stab one of them niggas to make them feel like that, like to make them be on high alert. Like that's how crazy they be.
The airport for several hours if you're Muslim or Arab in general. Like even if you're American citizen, whatever, they're gonna and the thing with the Israelis is they're gonna go through your phones. They have like that. If you guys want to talk about a police state, that is a police state to the highest level.
Yeah. Checkpoints everywhere, very intimidating. They do it on purpose. They want to instill fear. They want to break the spirit of Palestinians.
JC Vance says, if they eradicate all Palestinians in the West Bank and they annex it, do you guys think the Al-Aqsa Mosque will be compromised? And if so, will this wake up the Muslim world? If they eradicate Palestinians in the West Bank? Yeah, they're going to destroy, bro. Yo, they're going to destroy the mosque. That's
They're hollowing the structure under it. Was that the question?
Yeah,
What's gonna happen?
he's
Sorry,
basically said, yeah, he said, if they eradicate Palestinians in the West Bank and they annex it, do you guys think that the Al-Aqsa Mosque will be compromised? And if so, will this wake up the Muslim world? Bro, they're going to 100% destroy it, bro.
Yeah, and
They're 100% going to destroy it.
not to get too theological and do the whole Armageddon thing here, but there's no denying, there's no telling what will happen in the foreseeable future, at least in the next few years. But there's no denying that, probably in maybe my lifetime or my kid's lifetime, there will be a major, major war in the Middle East regarding these holy sites. And Israel is already working towards getting rid of that Aqsa Mosque, or at least a portion of it. And they want to seat their third temple. They want to get that built as soon as possible.
And that's one of the main reasons why October 7th happened, guys. Like, guys, the October 7th operation was called Operation Al-Aqsa Flood. That was one of the main reasons why they even attacked on October 7th. Now, obviously, no one talks about this because, it's all theology and everything else like that. And if, could you imagine niggas on Fox News? Yeah, they attacked because we bought 4 cows. Like, yo, yo, but real talk, that's really what it is. Like, guys, I'm not kidding around. Literally, Hamas attacked because the Israelis bought 5 red cows from Texas, bro. And then niggas are like, what? What? You attacked them because they got cows? But that's literally what Abu Ubaidah said when he gave his address of why they attacked on October 7th. He literally said, yo, the Israelis are instigating the coming of the Messiah, of their Messiah, and they bought 4 red cows from the United States and they brought it to Israel, and we're aware of that. He literally said that in his announcement, who used to be the spokesperson for Hamas. But it was one of the main things he brought up, guys. So, like, obviously, American media is not going to tell you guys that, because could you imagine on Fox News, Alan Dershowitz, whatever, oh my God, the anti-Semitism, they attacked us because we bought some heifers. Like, bro, the niggas would be like, what? What's going on here? But that is one of the main reasons why they attacked us.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they need the perfect red cows. And Abu Ubaidah did say that. I was just going to mention that, so I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
I remember him mentioning that before.
That was a partial reason. And another reason was because Saudi Arabia was nearing